Greetings. We're here with Patricia Khan, who, as you can see, has a beautiful crystal bowl along with other beautiful bowls. Patricia is one of my pips, people that meditate with me. I call my partners in practice. So we're going to have a conversation about meditation with Patricia. Welcome, Patricia.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited.
I'm excited to hear all about what you're doing. So I know a little bit about Patricia. Patricia is an IT professional, been there, and she is also a Reiki certified Reiki practitioner, and she is a meditation teacher. She is also a yoga instructor, and you saw the bowls, so you know she must be doing something with sound vibration. So we're going to have a little chat with Patricia about meditation. So how did you get started with meditation?
I started yoga teacher training back in about 2017 because I was hurting myself doing all this physical stuff, and I'm a woman of a certain age, and well into my 50s, we'll put it that way. And so I kind of stumbled across yoga with my daughter, and we decided I had the good fortune of taking training with her. So we did our first set of training in 2017. And I was drawn to teaching a more gentle, reflective, subtle type of yoga because I found myself always asking people, how are you feeling? Because that was the powerful thing for me about yoga. After the physical stuff about getting rid of the aches and pains, it was, how are you feeling in your body?
Mm.
And then I started thinking, okay, turning in, this is this meditation piece, and being the analytical type of person I am, yoga, meditation came up, so I took meditation training because, of course, you got to do it right?
Right.
About 2019, and I was hooked. So I started adding that into my class, and I started practicing that for myself. So I've been guiding meditations. I don't like to say teaching, we're guides, and doing meditation pretty consistently since about 2018-19.
Excellent. So how have you found meditation to be helpful for your day job, your life, your day life, which I know is not going to be there forever, but as an IT professional, how has this been helpful for you?
I think for me, it's helped me settle. It's one of those things where things are going crazy and energy is going crazy and deadlines are coming and the commute and all this stuff. Being able to slow down, pay attention to what's happening, and just notice the emotions. And I think that's what meditation does. A lot of times people talk about, oh, you stop thinking and you go to this special place. Sometimes the meditation is, let me slow down for just a minute. You know how we used to tell our children, count to 10? That's
Mm-hmm.
meditation. It's
Yeah.
slowing down for a moment and looking at what's happening, and it's separating yourself from all of the crazy outside and
Mm-hmm.
realizing how that impacts you. So for work life, for family life, for dealing with my children, just being able to separate sometimes and um, understand how I'm being impacted, and just realizing the, that some people call it being an empath. I don't know if I own that, but just understanding how things impact you. And I think that's
Yes.
why I'm drawn to the sound healing because, some people are into the crystals and the essential oils. And I found that when that crystal bowl rings, it's just like this tingling. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like when you hear your favorite song, right? That
Yeah.
song that you listened to when you had your first kiss. Those things bring those memories and those feelings
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
And I think, with the sound healing, with the meditation, it's a moment to slow down and just listen.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
a lot of my friends, not a lot, but I do have friends who are a little resistant to the concept of meditation because of their religion. And I always say, I think everybody's really kind of meditating, they just don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, prayer is when we talk to God,
Yeah.
prayer is when we talk to Allah, Jehovah, meditation is when we listen to that answer.
Mm-hmm.
And if you
Exactly.
put it into that framework, people are like, okay. And I think it's just one of those things that's helped me settle. My mother said I'm a much nicer person. But I think it helps you become more thoughtful. I
Yes.
think, instead of rushing from A to B, you
Yeah.
can enjoy that journey from A to B.
Absolutely. And I think that is a great way to put it, the journey from A to B, because you're right. Even with all of this going on and us being in pandemic or plandemic, as one of my pips says, we still are sometimes rushing. And just recently I found myself and I'm like, whoa, girl, stop,
Yeah.
stop, take some breaths,
Stop and breathe.
center yourself, and then just go, so now what really needs to happen next? And sometimes it's like you need to go sit your butt down and be quiet. That's what you need to do next.
Exactly. Or just let some of that go.
Exactly.
We practice Ho'oponopono, and that's one of the things I've been doing lately. And that's one of those practices that brings tears every time.
Oh,
yeah. And I don't even know if there's a person I need to forgive. I don't know if I'm forgiving myself for something, but there's clearly something there.
Yeah.
And, I think I say people, I think everyone's always meditating. It's just, are you paying attention?
Right. Right.
And it doesn't, one of the things that drew me to you in an Insight Timer, because again, divine timing, I'm addicted to Insight Timer. So I said, oh, she looks like me. Boop, right? And you were smiling, you were laughing, you were greeting everyone. And you said, if you're looking for one of those sessions that's very serious, and you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And I said, boom, because it doesn't have to be serious.
Yeah.
There are monks that sit rigid and, out on the hilltop in the Himalayas. Or, you know what? You find what works for you and be prepared for that to change and enjoy the process. And it can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour.
Exactly. And I do like to give that disclaimer, because it's like, you're looking for that, you're not in the right session. I'm sure there's someone out there on Insight Timer you can go to, but not me.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's the wonderful thing. That's beautiful. If that's what you need, great. I always tell people when they're trying to start to meditate, I'm like, get an Insight Timer, get a Calm, go to YouTube and just watch different people. If it resonates with you, stop for a moment and come back and see what happens. And when it stops working for you, move on.
Right.
Because what works on one given day at one given time may not work the next time. It's just like, you might love, this is bad, you might love that chicken sandwich from a certain restaurant.
Right.
One day you're like, ew. And then you switch to, I don't know, something else somewhere else. We're allowed to change. And that's the wonderful thing. We're like that butterfly, right?
Yeah.
We're changing.
Ever changing. And our practice is changing. And that leads into my next question. It was a perfect transition. I don't know if you knew that or not. But so how has your practice changed over the last year and a half with us being in lockdown? Is there anything that stands out for you?
I'm going to say, because of COVID and being at home, I had the good fortune of leaving my office on a Friday and showing up downstairs on a Monday. I didn't have to stop working, but I found that, it's like, oh, girl, it's 9 o'clock, get up and start working. Ooh, I needed some structure, right? So what I found was I had to find some anchor into my days, because we all lost whatever normal is, because it's crazy, right? And so I needed to anchor myself, and went back to that whole anchor yourself to your breath, anchor yourself to grounding. And I found that if I practice every morning when it was quiet before my beautiful husband wakes up, I don't want to say get it in, but I could find some normalcy. So I get up early. Now I practice with the pips, which, if I don't have my pips, I'm a little angry. But, it's just adding that regular practice. And sometimes it's just the 10 minutes that we do together. Sometimes it's longer. But just bring that consistency, bring that anchoring, bring that, and I'm a Capricorn, so I like that routine helped. It used to be the routine of getting that coffee in Starbucks on the way to work. Now it's the routine of coming to my mat, and sometimes my dog joins me and we just meditate, whatever that looks like.
Oh, what kind of dog? I've never heard you mention your dog. What kind of dog do you have?
She's a Shih Tzu. So she's a little furry old dog. She's 13. She's old. But she'll get up with me in the morning. And if you settle down, I think she's drawn to the calmness. So she'll come sit on my lap. So we'll together. Yeah.
That's beautiful. it is recognizing that we're constantly in flow, right? And, I like to say flow is feeling, loving, open, willing. When we stay in that flow, then we can be kind to ourselves and know that, maybe one day I'm going to do this and the next day I'm going to do something different. And because we are living in these constantly changing times, which I think is part of what this whole pandemic was about, is things are changing like this, so quickly that we have to be able to traverse what's going on. And having this practice, whatever this practice is for you, is recognizing that, like you said, if I can come back to my breath and my body, check in with my feelings, which I'm going to tell you now, I'm an Aquarian, so we ain't about no feelings. I'm not about the feeling thing. So when I get to having some feelings, I'm like, oh, that feels, I don't know if I like that, but I'm learning to flow with the feelings. And
Exactly.
then, like, the card today was, my love is limitless.
Exactly.
And, just even saying that feels good. My love is limitless, right? And when we think about limitness and just kind of flowing with life, it just feels good.
It
It
does.
feels good to flow with life and not be stuck in any specific place, and to know that when things are supposed to happen, they will happen.
So true. And I know for me, carving out that little bit of solitude, that me time, because
Mhm.
again, people pleaser, my children are out of the house, but if the phone rang, it's like, oh my goodness, I have a mother who's older. And so
Mhm.
you're used to always being available and giving out that energy. And we were talking a little earlier about teaching. I always say when I teach yoga, I teach meditation, which I love to do. Um, it's an outflow of energy.
Mhm.
And I'm an extrovert all day long, but
Yeah.
I've realized that with the pandemic, I also like being alone because then, the quiet, I listen to the birds. And so I become fiercely protective of that morning hour where I don't
Mhm.
want to talk to anybody. If you call me, you better be dying kind of a thing at that.
Why are you calling me at this time?
The only person I deal with is the little dog because,
Yeah.
and but I think it's one of those things, like you said, that self love. And I made some of my friends laugh because we were talking about meditation and self love, and someone had done this makeup class or whatever, and I said, well, that's great, but you do your makeup, you do your hair, you take a bubble bath and all that stuff. You have to wash the makeup off, your hair gets fuzzy, and you get stinky again. That's grooming. Real
Yeah.
self care to me
Yeah.
is checking in on how you're feeling and making sure that you're okay. And if
Mhm.
you're unhappy, dealing with it. If we all mess up. So forgive yourself. That's self care.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what your hair looks like, or I smell when you're like, oh, I forgot to draw my eyebrows on. It's like, girl, I feel you. You know, that's wonderful. But if you
Yeah.
think about all of those things, those are temporary.
Mhm.
And as you said, this is a vehicle that we have to move through this earth, and
Yeah.
taking care of that essence and
Mhm.
making sure we're okay, because we're all going to get older. Our bodies are going to wear out and we're going to pass away, or we're going to be hit by a car, something, but we're all going to leave here.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the body will change, the hair will change, all that. But if we can focus on the essence of who we are and nurture that, then everything else gets better, right?
Exactly.
You're able to help all those people that you want to help.
Yep. Beautifully put. Beautifully put. Is there anything else you want to share with our audience about what you do? Where do you do your yoga? Are you
I
doing it
I
online or are you in
Well,
person?
I do it online. I do it in a studio. I'm blessed to teach at two wonderful studios here in Prince George's County, Spiritual Essence Yoga and
Mhm.
Replenish Yoga.
Okay.
So I teach there, and we have virtual options there. And I have my little People Not Poses Instagram, which I promise I will get. You're my hero, so I'm going to get it to posting. That's not my thing. I'm not a social media person, really, but I will. But I guess the one thing I want to encourage people to do is to let go of their expectations about what they think meditation is. Um, to find what works for you. So I always tell my students, my pips, when I sit down to do a meditation, releasing the expectations.
Yeah.
Because what happened yesterday, it's not going to happen today, right?
Mhm.
Even if you're getting the same cup of coffee, it's going to taste a little different. So big. be okay with that.
Yes.
Own that, but find what works for you and be ready for that to change. So if one day you're, when you're doing yoga and you're loving vinyasa, and the next day you're like, I just want a yummy restorative class. You can't see my bolsters. I'm all about that bolster life with yoga. Support yourself and love yourself and try different things. And if you're like, if you set up this consistent practice and one day you don't make it and you don't get up, okay. Maybe you don't meditate for a month. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do today? So give yourself the grace to stop and start when you need to.
Exactly.
That is divine timing. What is for you will find you. When you need it, you just have to slow down enough to listen.
Yep. Listen and pay attention and then do what is next.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It has been a pleasure. I am loving these interviews. I get to talk to my pips. And for people that are new, that stands for Partners in Practice. And if you are someone who has a meditation practice and you want to share anything you want to share about that practice, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm enjoying these conversations about meditation so we can continue to let people know that meditation is a practice. And one of my favorite descriptions is meditation is mental hygiene, right? I brush my teeth every day, and I hope you're brushing yours too. I wash my face every day, and I hope you're washing yours. And meditation is preparing our mind to go out into the world because we use our mind to navigate everything. So thank you so much for tuning into this conversation about meditation. And let's do it. We're going to close with our bowls.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Patricia. Everyone, be well.